President Moon Jae-in is in Russia for a 3-day visit. In about half an hour, he will deliver a speech at the State Duma, becoming the first South Korean head of state to do so. We will bring you live coverage of that historic event as it develops later in our newscast. First, Hwang Hojun starts things off with the Liberal leader's itinerary.
At the invitation of his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, this is the first time a sitting South Korean president has made an official state visit to Russia in 19 years. To kick off his 3-day stay, President Moon will deliver a speech before the State Duma, the lower house of Russia's Federal Assembly. This will be the first time a sitting South Korean president has done so. It's been a key diplomatic policy of the Moon administration to expand South Korea's diplomatic and economic horizons with its Eurasian neighbors, the quote, new northern policy. So observers expect President Moon will introduce his vision for boosting Seoul-Moscow relations. In fact, it was in Vladivostok, Russia, that he first introduced the concept when he was attending the Eastern Economic Forum last September. And considering the region's turbulent geopolitical landscape, it's likely that President Moon will ask for Russia's active cooperation in the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. After a speech at the Duma, President Moon is set to meet with Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev. On Friday, President Moon will hold a summit with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, which will be followed by a state dinner. He will also meet with South Koreans living in Russia and business representatives from both countries. After completing his itinerary in Moscow, President Moon will fly to the southwestern city of Rostov-on-Don to cheer on South Korea in their World Cup match against Mexico, and that's where he'll wrap up his 2-night stay, the first official state visit to Russia by a South Korean leader since 1999. Hwang Hojun, Arirang News.